I normally save these videos until we have a little bit more time to digest them, but there's something in New World that I think you really need to see right now regarding craft mods. So let me jump into the PTR and I'll show you what it is. So here I am on the PTR. Now this wasn't in the patch notes, so obviously it could change, but I go over to the gypsum kiln, you open it up as normal, you might think there's not that much difference, but you go all the way to the bottom and now you can actually convert some materials, so you can basically refine some materials. Now let me just show you this. Let's say I go on the Iron Guardsman insignia. Oh, I don't actually have any of these at the minute, but let's say I did have any of these. Let's say I had the Iron Pocket Watch. I could click that. You would need 5 of them, but you would get 1 Iron Guardsman insignia. You obviously also need 20 Azoth vials. Here you can see that if I go on the focus one, I have 1 softwood tree sap. Obviously, as I said, you need 5 of them, but you would be able to convert that to a focus craft mod. Now keep in mind that basically it depends on the stat, basically. So for this focus one, you can only use something where it has focus as part of it and it's a dual stat, so like dex and focus, etc. And that is the same for the Iron Guardsman insignias. You know, everything here will have something and constitution, so dex and constitution, intelligence and constitution, etc. Now keep in mind there is also no way to convert a Iron Guardsman insignia into a rough leather beaded strap. You can't do that. It's basically converting the dual stat craft mods into a single stat. 5 craft mods, 20 Azoth, pretty important. Now what you might want to do is 2 main things. You might want to go on your live server, check which of the stat mods you want. So obviously strength and the constitution craft mods are quite expensive, so it might be worth to pick up some Azoth vials because they were cheap. They are going up in price on my server. They're actually so expensive on my server that I'm thinking about selling the ones that I have rather than buying more. But it also might be worth buying some of the dual craft mods, which are quite cheap, knowing that you need 5 of them and 20 Azoth vials, so you can sort of do the math to see if it's worth it. Now some people will have picked up on this already and the prices will have gone up, and in those cases I recommend not to buy. But what it might be worth doing is checking your storage. Make sure that if any of the craft mods that you've just randomly been saving up, maybe you've got a strength and dex craft mod, maybe you've got 100 of them or something like that. It might be worth trying to time it to either sell that or to convert them yourself. So just check your storages, make sure you don't offload anything that might be valuable. It also might be a really good time to go and farm these. You can farm these like in low level areas like Windswood and Everfall and all that kind of stuff. You just go over to like a farm, open up all the chests, and quite frankly, you might even get some of the Iron Guardsman insignias, or you'll get some of the combo mods. So just something really important that I think it's worth knowing about, just so you don't mess up in terms of the market. Don't buy the combo craft mods if they've gone up in price significantly. You won't make any gold. Now, I haven't seen very much on the PTR that will affect the market beyond that, but there's a couple of interesting things. Like the forts have been reworked. So for example, Ebonscale is now giving you a global faction store discount of 5%. But one that we've been querying this morning is the Morningdale fort, because if I go ahead over there, you will see that it says global crafting bonus plus 5. Now when you read it, unfortunately it says increases the gear score ceiling of crafted items by 5 gear score, and we can confirm that it only increases the ceiling, so you're not going to be able to craft like 600 out of 600 gear score and guarantee legendaries. That's not possible, and the gear score is still capped at 600, so you're not going to be able to craft like 595 to 605. It's still capped at 600. But what's important there is, let's say the weaponsmithing pants are like 100k on your server. The weaponsmithing actually increases the minimum, but maybe it's worth skipping it and now being able to craft like 593 to 600 items instead of buying the pants. That's just a kind of conversation you're probably going to have with yourself. There's probably some interesting combinations. Maybe you'll be able to craft gear score 600 items without using full tier 5 mats like we thought you would be able to do with the replicas from Tempest, but we'll have to wait and see. One thing that could affect the economy, but it's hard to say right now, is that on the PvP tracks you can get stuff like, hey, this more lost potion pack which increases infused lost ward and stuff like that. They may affect the economy depending on how many you get. In fact, let's get this, because it says infused health potion. Okay, so let's just buy these and see what happens. Okay, I don't have enough salt for that one, so let's buy this one. I'm not 100% sure what I got there, but because I don't really know how many I had beforehand, but I would have got some. Now another thing to note which could be important is that consumables are usable in the PvP arenas, and that's pretty important, because when I say consumables, I don't don't just mean like health pots and stuff like that. I mean honing stones, dust, you know, all that kind of good stuff is usable. That could really affect the market. Now obviously with this like reward tract, you might get some of those as you go. It's really hard to say right now, but I suspect consumables are going to be going up. But what might happen with the consumables is as the demand goes up, people realize that that might be happening, so they've possibly been holding onto it, and the price may not change all that much initially. We'll have to wait and see. And to be fair, people in the PvP arenas might just be like, I'm not going to use my consumables, I don't want to. I just wanted to get that out there because I feel like that's going to mix up the market when it comes to these craft mods. Probably people won't craft as much because they'll wait to get the cheaper versions of the crafting that they want, but obviously people will be prepping for the PvP arenas, so do be aware of that and try and take advantage of that. Have a most beautiful day, like and subscribe, come follow me on Twitch. I know I'm pretty much mostly better from COVID, so I should be streaming. Have a beautiful day, goodbye.